decompose and animals started to eat the remains. What happened when they were eventually taken down?
Well, the Romans would take them down. They probably want to reuse the cross. And so they would take them down after a while. I don't think there was a set amount of time. And they would dispose of the bodies. And so we don't have good evidence what they did with them, but they did something with them. The common guesses are that they would just throw them in a mass grave, or that they would just dig a ditch, and put the body in and get rid of it. And so we do have, we do have remains of a couple of crucified victims that have turned up in modern times. We know they were crucified victims. One of them has the nail still in his ankle bone. And some people have used that as an argument that therefore Jews were allowed to bury their victims on the day of the crucifixion. And that always struck me as a very strange argument.
If this was the argument used, I would agree with Bart on this, but this is the weakest version used primarily by internet apologists. The full scope of the argument goes much further. We have Roman legal codes that confirm what the Gospels suggest, stating that a body could be taken down from the cross if requested and approved. We have writings from people in the 1st century, such as Josephus, even confirming this being the case. And given the time frame of the crucifixion of Jesus and Jewish law regarding those hanged, religious authorities would request for the bodies to be taken down. And none of this would be unexpected, and we have multiple bodies confirming this, such as the one that Bart shows, and 2 more. One of which was also a lower class criminal given a proper burial. I know he argued about how we can't tell if it would be the same day, and to some extent we can't definitively know. But we can be reasonably sure it was most likely that anybody on a cross by Friday evening before Passover would be requested to be removed by the Jewish community in fulfillment of Jewish law, as we see in the Torah and in the Mishnah. And according to Roman legal codes, the proconsul could grant this request, which would help keep the peace, especially during such a tumultuous time. Remember that anyone over Judea in the 1st century would have cause for concern regarding riots given 200 years of political instability in the region, with the Jews opposing Roman occupation. If a high-ranking religious authority with wealth were to ask the proconsul to fulfill his request on bodies being taken down and buried to satisfy Jewish law, it would be reasonable to suggest he would comply. The question is now, what evidence is there to suggest that the Jews would even ignore religious law of purity here and not petition for the bodies to be taken down on the evening before Passover? The Gospels attest to that happening. The data suggests it is very plausible. And there was no contention from anyone saying that this is not what happened. All we have is positive evidence that the Gospels recorded what happened. So if there's evidence to the contrary, I would be very interested in seeing it. Thank you, and God bless you.